Please, can you see my screen? Please confirm to me that you can see my screen. Is anyone there?
Yes, you can see your screen.
Okay, that's good. So, first assignment on charts. So let's do this quickly. Remember, I told you chart is very simple and straightforward. First one said a column chart comparing your monthly expenses across all categories. So it's just straightforward. You highlight everything. Remember, monthly expenses, that is January, February, March, across what all categories. The categories are rent, food, transportation, and what utilities. So go to insert. This is column chart here. Click this. Pick a column chart of your choice. Is it straightforward? Let me do it again. Let me delete this. Say you highlight everything here. After highlighting, you go to insert. You pick your column chart, which is this, and pick one. That's straightforward for the first one. Let's keep it here. Now, what's the second question? Do a line chart showing the trend of rent over what? The 6 months. So we highlight everything again. Now they said only for rent, so we are not highlighting everything, we're just highlighting months and rent. Then we'll go to what? Insert. I'll pick what? Line chart. Now you can pick any line chart of your choice. So let me pick the one with markers. So this is it. That's simple. Across the 6 months for rent, January, February, March, April, May. And January they made one too. Meaning if you are supposed to give analysis now, say rent made their highest revenue or sales or any whatever value is attached to it in the month of April. So this is how you just run quick analysis with charts. Then the last one says what? Do a pie chart showing the total expenses by category for the entire period. So you go to charts. Say what? Do a pie chart showing the total expenses by category for what? The entire what? Period. So it's for everything. You do a pie chart, you highlight. You go to insert. Or what? Pick what? A pie chart. Then we select. Now, from what we are seeing here, it's saying this is rent for May. So it's doing the summation. But that is not the question that they're asking us. This is what rent for April, rent for March, rent. Can you see? It just picked rent. So to correct that, we can do this. Highlight rent. Click on insert again. Pie chart. And we tell it that we are switching row with what? Column. So can you see? So we're telling us this is for rent, this is for food. What it's doing is the summation. This food for January, this for what? Transportation, and this is what? Utilities. Now, said what? The pie chart should be showing the total expenses by category for what? The entire what? Period. So the main thing about this question is first step, you come here and find the what? Sum. Please understand, I'm just showing you how you change this to that, okay, it's rent you want. But what the question is telling us, Gongon, is that he wants to see what the total expenses by that category. So which means it's giving us the summation of what? January to what? June. So we come here and do equals to sum, open bracket, take this to the end. That's done the summation of that. And we do what? Drag towards the end. Now, let's do exactly what they told us to find. So we alight from what? Rent from year to year. Remember, you hold your control down because we're just working with sum, the total. You can just come here and put this as what's total. Let's type total here. So you hold your rent from where? Year to year. You hold your control button down with your shift and alight from where? What's happening? What's going on? Okay, that's what we will do. We'll filter it. So let's highlight everything. So let me delete this rent from here. We highlight everything. Go to insert, put what? The pie chart. Then we switch this. Then we filter saying that we want series 7. Series 7 automatically means what? The total is the total. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And click on apply. Now, if you don't want it that way, if you don't understand that series 7 that I just did, you can, I'm deleting this down. You can highlight everything. Please pay attention. You can highlight everything. You're saying the different methods. I'm telling you, when picking charts, it's just find a way to get the chart that you want. Like find also the ideology that is answering that question from that your chart. So now I'm highlighting everything again. I pick insert. I pick what? The pie chart. I come here and change it. That is switching the row to column. Then I go see now it's telling us that it's picking for only January, but that's not what we are looking for. So we'll come to this filter and tell it that this is the series we are looking for the total. Then we'll click on what? Apply. So as you can see, that's giving us total value for, see this for food, this for rent, this for transportation, and this for what? Utilities. So that is all about number 1. The other part is why I explained. Format your chart with descriptive titles, data label showing value, and what? Legend. I'll just use one chart to do it for us. So we can come here, click here. Ready to that. Automatically, it has given us legend. So we're telling that what one data label you here too. So we click on it and can give it the title you want. And put, let's see, according to the question, total expenses by category. So you can just come here and just type total expenses. So we've given it our title. We've answered that question. If it was for, let's say, chart title, let me take this away so that we can see the chart title. Let's say it was this one. You can click on plus. We said we wanted to have what? Data labels. So we click on this. It already automatically has legend. Then what? title. So you can decide if you want the axis title or not. Do we understand? I don't think it asks for axis title in the question. Okay, descriptive title. So meaning you can add axis title to it. So you can give this title of your choice as, you can put this as category. And can give this what? And give this what? Axis title what? Month. You can give the chart title any title of your choice. Let's see if there's anything you can deduce from the question. So we can do monthly expenses. So you can give this title what? Monthly what? Expenses. So that is all. That is all about charts. Is there any question? So after the chart is just is straightforward. Is there any question? Let me see this. Okay. In the absence of any question, let's go to the pivot tables. Now, remember I told you before ever working on any pivot table, just in case of mistakes, sorry. Oh, sorry, Williams. Sorry, Chimex. Okay, no problem. Please, let's just follow. Let's just follow what we are doing. I understand. Understand. And Williams, may the Lord console you. Okay, let's continue. May his soul rest in peace. Okay. So remember, move or copy. Where are we putting? Let's just move it to the end this time. What are we doing? We are creating a copy. Click on what? Okay. That's created a copy. This is the original one. And this is what the copy we are working with. So let's start. Remember, I advised, although it's not compulsory, I advise that whenever you are working, just format, ensure you change your distance to format as a table. And okay, before we do that, remember I always told us we'll create one more sheet and rename it what? Pivot what? Table. So the original sheet, and this is what we put in our what? Pivot tables. So first question. What's the first question? It said using the grade data below, create the following pivot tables. Average grade by what? Subjects. So let's go. Let's go and do that. Remember, step one, format your data set as what? As a table. Pick any one of your choice. Remember, if your table has headers, let it know that my table has what? Headers. So what? Okay. That's step one. Now, step two, it's time for us to answer the question. Let's check it again. What did you say? The subject should be what? In rows. Then average of what? The grade in values. So let's go. We click this. Remember, go to what? Insert. Then what? Pivot what? Table. Then what? From table or range. Please, if I'm going too fast, kindly call me back. From table or range. Now remember, we're using an existing worksheet. So click on what? Existing worksheet. Then we go to where the worksheet. Make sure this is always blinking here. Then we go to where the worksheet is, which is pivot table. Pick a cell that we want it to be. Click on what? Add this data to the data model. And click on what? Okay. Remember, creating pivot table is always the same step. Okay. Now, he said, what should we put are the rows? According to the question, he said what? Subject are the rows and average of grade as what? The values. So we drag what? Subject. So what? Rows. Then we drag what? Grade. So what? Values. Subject to rows, grade to what? Values. Now remember, automatically it comes as sum. But what we are looking for is what? The average. So we click on this and change it. Go to value field settings. Let me take again. We click on this here, this button. Go to what? Value field settings. And change our value field to what? Average. Click on what? Okay. So it has changed it to, the average values for us. So we've answered what? That is all about the first question. That is all about the first question. Then, what is the second question saying? Find what? The total number of students by class and what? Subject. Same question. Bookkeeper, do you have a question?
Hello, sir. Hello.
I can hear you. Go on, Bookkeeper.
Yes, please, can you just help us to run through the first ones? Just help me to run through it because it's like I'm a bit confused about what you just did now, please.
First question. Okay.
Yes.
Let's do it once again. So, if I can still remember how to delete a pivot table. Sorry. I want to see. It's been long. I deleted the pivot table. Please give me some few minutes. I'm saying, let's see if I can delete this pivot table. Okay. You know what? Let me delete this worksheet. So do it once again. So pivot table. There's a way to delete pivot table. Just it's been long, and that's exactly what I'm saying about Excel. Why you need to keep practicing. It's been long. I've done a job that would need to delete my pivot table, but I'm going to restart back on it and show you. So in case you created a pivot table and you realize you don't need it again, you can delete it from the sheet. So let's do it once again. So back to this. Remember, the question told us it wants what? It wants subject on the rules, then grade on what? The values. So back on our this table, we click on what? Remember like I said it the last time, always ensure that your cursor is inside the table. You are clicking inside that table. Then we go to what? Insert. Then we'll pick what? Pivot table. Then select this from table or range. So when we click on it, now we are saying is that we want it. We already have an existing worksheet that we want to use. Don't create a new worksheet for us. So click on what? That existing what? Worksheet. Ensure this place is blinking. Then we'll go to the pivot table sheet that we created, which is here. Then select a cell. So I'm picking C3. Remember, click add this data to what? The model. Remember, I've selected the C3. Then what? I click on what? OK. Just created this pivot table option for us. Now, it said that we should put subjects in what? Rows. Now, mind you, in real life scenario, they will not tell you that if you put subjects in rows, put this in column. It's you that will deduce that, okay, this is supposed to be in the row side. I'm supposed to put this in column side. Do you understand? Okay, then this should be in value side. What am I trying to filter? But I'm just telling you, I'm just giving you what you should do as per, because you are new to it. But in a real life scenario, after you, most times they'll just give you the data set and say, we need to understand what our business is performing. The remaining is left to you, cleaning the data, knowing how you get your pivot table, then creating your what? Dashboard. So we've dragged what subject to here, and it said we should drag grade to what values. Now, I said automatically, Excel will do it as a summation. It's going to sum everything. But we are not looking for sum. What we are looking for is what's the average. To do that, we click on this button beside it. Then go to what? Value field settings. Make sure you click on it and say that you want what is average. I want, not sum. So you click on what? The average. And click on what? OK. So it has changed from sum now to what? The average of the grade for each of the subjects. Is that understood? Bookkeeper, is that understood? Can I go on?
Yes, you can, please.
Okay, good. So, what does the second question say? Find the total number of students by class and what? Subject. Total number of students by what? The class and what? By the what? Subject. It has told us that the class should be in rows, the subject should be what? In what? Columns. And now the count of that student's name should be in what? Values. So let's do it. Sorry. Now, remember, click back here again. Go to insert. You're picking pivot table from table or what to range. You're saying we want what? Existing sheets. You'll go to pivot table. Pick a spot we want to use. Click on what? Add what? Data to what? Model. Then click on what? OK. Now, according to the question again, once again, it said what? Class should be rows and subject should be what? Columns. Class rows, subject columns. Then the value should be what? Count of student name. So let's go. You drag class to what? Rows. So these are the three distinct classes that are there: grade 10, grade 11, and what? Grade 12. Says subject should be what? In what? Columns. So for grade 10 English, grade 10 history, grade 10 maths, grade 10 science. So you're saying now we should count the number of people in grade 10 that did English, count the number of students in grade 10 that did history, count the number of students in grade 10 that is doing maths. Same thing for grade 11, for what? Grade 12. So we drag what? Student name to what? Values. Now, because we dragged it, anything that's, let me just give a quick explanation. Anything that does not have to do with integers, that does not have to do with numbers, the moment you drag it to values, there are only two things they can do. It does only either count or what? Distinct count. Distinct count means it's just counting the number of unique values there. while count is counting the total number of the values that are there. Meaning, let's assume I have Ayo, Femi, and what? Ayo, like this. If I have these three, this one is a count, we count this as 1, 2, 3, because there are three, is in three different cells. But this thing counts the unique one, meaning these two Ayo that are here, this Ayo here and this Ayo here, so we count it as one. It's taking the unique one there and count what? Femi. Which means for distinct count, it will give you 2. While for count, it will give you what? 3. So remember, whenever you put a value, the ones that are working with strings, like all this name, class, when you drag it to value, it will not do sum. To do only either count or what? You can go to value field settings and change it to what? Distinct what? Count. Now see, let's just see this error. Let's assume I put sum. Can you see what it's showing me? We can't summarize this field because it is not a supported calculation for text data types. Remember, the data types I'm working with now are text, so you cannot do summation on it. So click OK. The only thing you can do is either count. Anything that requires mathematical calculation, it cannot work because you are working with text. But if you're working with text, it's either count, you can pick count, or what? Distinct counts. So when I click OK for distinct counts, you just count the what? The unique values. That's the difference between what's count and what? Distinct counts. Let me press Ctrl Z and go back. The difference between what's count and distinct counts. Is there any question on this aspect before I continue? Because it might be a bit confusing. Any question? Check.
Sorry, I didn't get the difference between that distinct count and the other count.
I said, okay. I said what distinct count does is that it counts the unique values. Now I said there's Ayo, there's Femi, there's Ayo. If I say it should count, let's assume, let me put this as names as the top, as the column, this thing. If I say it should count the number of names here, it's going to count 1, 2, and what? 3. This Ayo, we count as 1. Count this Femi as 2. Count this Ayo again as what? 3. That's we are using count. But if I tell it no, don't do count, you do distinct count. If you count Ayo as 1, count Femi as 2. This Ayo, it will not count it because it has already counted one Ayo before. Which means this Ayo and this Ayo is still taken as what? 1. What distinct count is looking for? It's looking for the unique ones that it has not counted. Let's say I add Femi again now. Normal count, we count this as 1, 2, 3, 4. But distinct count, we only count it as 1, 2. You see Ayo here, we say, no, I've counted Ayo before, so we are still on 2. Since Femi here, we say, okay, I've counted Femi before, so we are still on 2. If you see Emmanuel here, now it will now count this as what? 3, because it has not seen Emmanuel before. But count, we count it as now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Count is not thinking about I've counted somebody's name before. Why distinct count is looking at the one it has counted before and it will not add it to it. Do you understand my explanation? I should go one more time.
Yes, I got you now.
You understand? Okay, that's good. So let's answer the third question. Almost done for today. Today just assignment correction. He said what? Find the average by class and what? Average of what? Grade. So row should be, class should be rows, and what? Value should be what? Average of that grade. So we go back to the table we're using to work. Click on what? Insert. Click on what? Pivot table. From table to range. We're using an existing worksheet. Then where is the location? Location is in what? Pivot table. Let's tell it to do it here for us. Add the data to what model. We click on what? Okay. He said what should be in row. According to the question, he said what? Class should be in what? Rows. So let's go down to the pivot table. Click on it. Class should be what? Rows. And what? Value. Grade. Remember, automatically it will do what? Sum for you. But we are not looking for what? Sum. So we tell it to change it to what for us? To average. So we click this button beside it again. Click on value field setting. Then change this to what? Average. Then what? Okay. So that is it. Very simple. Is there any question? Is there any question before I show us how to put charts? But before showing us how to put chart, I'm just going to give us a brief explanation on when to use filter. Any question before I continue? Now let's assume I want to filter with this same one. I can decide to drag grid towards filters and to show this filter on top. That is just the simple thing about filter. You can click this, it's just nothing here saying what you want to remove or not. But clicking filter is just as simple as you telling it add filter or by grade. Then you can now come here and say, okay, I don't want all. What do you want? Let me not use grade. Grade is a lot. Let me use something simple. Let's remove this. Let's use that same class. So let's use class. What's going on? Okay, we already have class here. Sorry. We already have class in rows. So let's filter with subject. So we drag subject towards filters. Now, remember this grade 10, grade 11, grade 12, this average grade is giving you for what? All the subjects together. Now, let's say I just want for only, not all of them, I want for just mathematics. So I can what? Click this and say, unclick English, unclick this, unclick science, and say, okay, just maths I want to show. Then click OK. Then it's wrong. It's supposed to change. Okay, sorry, that was the mistake I made. So I can tell it I just want mathematics. Click what? Okay, can you see that it has changed? Let me do it once again, Ctrl Z. I want to do everything once again. So let me remove this subject from here. I said I want to filter. Now I said this is already giving us the average grade for all the subjects. So for maths, for English, for history. But I said no, I want to filter by, I just want to see for mathematics. So I'm dragging subjects towards filter. When you drag it to filter, this is going to appear on top, telling you that what you have here, you can filter it by what? Subject. Now, it's having all here because remember I told you, it's finding the average grade for everything, the mathematics, the English, the history. But now I said I just want the average grade for mathematics. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to click on this all, this beside here, click on select multiple what items. Now we click on this button. We say we should remove English, it should remove history, it should remove science, it should give me only maths. So if I press OK, you see that the value has what changed. So yeah, it's giving you the average for just what mathematics. If you want maths and another thing, you can click the two together. Let's say we want the average for what? Maths and English. So we click maths, we click on English, and click on what? Okay. It will change. Do you understand? So that's how the filter tab works. Is there any question before we quickly do chats and end for today? Is there any question? Is there any question? So we know when to use the filters, the columns, the rows, the values. Any question? Okay. So in the absence of any question, let me now show you how we add charts. How we add charts. So before, let me just give us a heads up on Saturday. Please let's join early. We'll be creating our first dashboard, and we are using a different data set, meaning we're going to start from creating a pivot table, to using it to create our charts. Then I'm going to explain how we use slicers. Slicers is what makes our charts in Excel interactive. I'm going to show us how to add slicers. But let me just show us now how to add charts how we add charts in Excel with our pivot table. Now I've shown us how to use normal charts. Now how to create charts with your pivot table. So now let's close this. I'm going to just use the pivot tables that we've been working with. So we click on this. Remember, I told you advice. Whenever we are done with any of our pivot table, we should always do this. We click on this, go to what design, go to what report layouts, and change to what tabular form. Always do for everything. Click on this, report layout, show in tabular form. Click on this, design, report layouts, show in what tabular form. Always let it be in tabular form. So let's create a table from 1. So we click on this, the first one. We go to pivot table, analyze. Then we click on what? Pivot charts. We click on what? Pivot charts. We click on what? We're clicking on it. And we what? Select what? A chart. So let's say this, we're using a what? Column chart. Okay. So can you see? Straightforward. Now look at this. Is adding some extra things. Average grade is telling us subjects here. You understand? Is adding some little filters, unlike normal charts. Let's go to that first one. That is not adding it for us. Now, is it? See the normal chart, all those things is not adding it here. So let's go back. Let's go back. Now, when we are working, there are sometimes we will not need this filter because we'll create, at the end, we're still going to create slicers. But the only good thing is just for you to, still run little interaction by yourself here, saying, okay, I want to see just history and mathematics. Okay. So can you see? It will change here. It also change on what? Your chart. So it's that simple. Creating a chart with what? Pivot table. Let me put this back. Select all. Do we all understand what I just did here? I want to do it again. So let me delete this. I said I click on that pivot table, one of the pivot tables that I've done before. I go to what? Pivot table analyze. And I click on what? Pivot charts. When I do that, even if it's, let's assume it's pie chart you want. You understand? So just pick a chart that you want to use. And for me, I'm picking what? Column charts. So I click on it. And I click on what? Okay. This is a chart for what? The first question. Same thing for this. I can click on this. Go to pivot analyze. Click on what? Pivot chart. I'll pick on anyone. Now, pie chart, if I click pie chart, it might not give me the total what I want, because what it's doing now, you see, it's always give you a sample. It's just picking one section. I think when you work with pivot chart, mostly it's going to be the total that is giving you. So we cannot use pie charts. So that's what I'm saying. When I was saying, the beginning, when I was explaining the presentation to us, that as you go on, you know the best form of charts to use. Now we could have used pie charts for the first one we did, but this one we can't use pie charts. In fact, the best one to actually use for this is this, either this column chart or what? This bar chart. But because we've used the column chart before, let's pick a bar chart this time. So bar chart, then what? Okay. So come here. Has told us that it has done for what? Grade 12. So grade 11 and what? Grade 10. So this is what grade 12 what? Science. So it has legends, at least for you to know which one is for which. Pivots, once you know how to do pivot table, doing chart is breeze. It's that simple. Where the work now comes back in, creating a dashboard. Creating a dashboard is a major part in explaining to your stakeholders what you have, all the work that you have been doing now is now how you are presenting it on what the dashboard. And let's do for this last one. Click on it. Go to what? Pivot analyze. I'm sorry, let me just. You can reduce I'm reducing this because you are done. So you can reduce it. I'm just reducing this because we are done. I just want so we can see this last one. So we can click on it. Go to what? Pivot analyze. Pick a pivot chart. Let's use this is a pie chart for this one. And we'll click on what? Okay. So can we see? We have our what? Pie chart. So let's assume we change. Let me put this here so we can see very well. But let me put it here. So let's assume here we change this filter that we had. Yes, it's already telling you that you had filtered it by what subject. I said everything that you have here is coming inside your chart. So let's assume I want it back to everything, to all. Instead of one by one. Click what? Okay. Can we see? This is for what? Grade 12, 81.5. Grade 10, 82.7. And what? Grade, what do you call it? Grade 11, it's 2.5. It's 1.5 for what? Grade 12. So that is all about pivot table and creating a chart. The last thing is now creating a dashboard, and I'm just coming. What's going on? Now, I want to show you how to insert slicers just for at least for Saturday, so at least you understand what we are doing. Now, remember, I told you slicers is what makes see all these things we are doing interactive. Let me see if I can reduce. Now, forget about the other this thing we've been doing. I just want you to see the charts. I want you to see the chart so you see how slicers work. So this is the chart we have. And now I want to insert slicer. To insert slicer, we go back to this what? Pivot analyze. Then click on what? Insert what? Slicer. We can just, if you click on pivot table and you go to pivot analyze, you still see what's the insert slicer. Are we together? So click on what? Insert what? Slicer. Now in that table, it's telling us what do we want to be responsive with our slicer. You're saying we want everything. So you click on it. Class, grade, semester, subject. Now, I don't want to. Let's not click on everything. Clicking on everything will give you the slicer for all of them. But because I'm trying to explain, let me just click on one. And let's say we are clicking on our slicer to be still a question. Okay. So let's say we are clicking on our slicer to just be grade. So let's just use grade. Sorry. So let's just use what? Grade as what? Our slicer. Check all. You click on what? Okay. Okay. Grade is a lot. Sorry, let's delete that. Let's use most times. Remember, whenever picking a slicer, use the one that has little distinct values. So grade is actually it's class I wanted to pick, and I was looking at it as grade. So let's pick class. Then what? Okay. So it gives you what you want to use, to run, to make it responsive. So I can click on, I just want grade 10. Can you see this is changing? I want grade 11. This is changing. Please look at this particular one. I want grade 12. This is changing. So before our next class, during our next class, I will now show you how you can just use one, just this one that we picked. How we can use it to generate slicers for, like, when you click grade 10, grade 11, let me end this. When you click one of them, it's not just this one that will be responsive. It's going to be what? 3 of them. I'm going to show us that in our next class. But I just want you to see what slicers does. Slicers helps you with filter. But when it's sweeter, is when you're working with a dashboard and it's responsive on more than one chart. Do we have any question?
I still didn't get that slicer. I didn't really get.
Okay, I'm going to redo it again. So I said that slicer is a major criteria that makes our when you're working with your dashboard, it makes your charts responsive. You see it better when we start working with the dashboard. Do you understand? But I'll show you also how to insert a slicer, meaning this. So I want to make this responsive, that it should be changing. Like, let's assume it's just one thing that I want to see. But I want to do it now. I did for subject, right? For class, let's assume I want to do it based on just the subject. So I click on that pivot table that I was using. I come to pivot analyze. Then see this slicer here. This slicer. Click on what? Insert slicer. And that insert slicer is telling us what do we want to use. What do we want to use as what? The slicer. Which means what are we using as the criteria to make our chart responsive? And I said we used class before, but now let's use subject. I click on subject and I click on what? Okay. So now when I do that, that's brought out the unique subjects there, which are what? English, history, mathematics, and what? Science. Now, if I'm saying I just want to see how mathematics performed, I'll click on mathematics. And can you see what is showing me here is grade 12 for mathematics, grade 11 for mathematics, and what? Grade 10 for what? For mathematics. I remember this particular chart is on count. So if I want to give an analysis on this, I'll say grade 12 and grade 10 had the highest amount of students that did what? Mathematics. So that's what slicers do. I can check for history. Can you see it has changed for what? History. So slicers helps you just do a quick, or should I say, get a better understanding, yes, on your charts. You see it come how it's the magic it performs when we create dashboard. I'm saying when we create dashboard now, if I click on just this history, I don't want to confuse us that I've not done it now. If I click on just this history, it will be responsive for year, like the 3 charts where history, where subjects, has a way, like it's performing something inside it. You are going to see how everything. So unlike this one that is just this that changed. The 3 of them, these 3, which change. Do you understand? Or should I go again? Should I go once again? Me?
Please, you can go again now. I'm still confused.
Okay. So I said what slicers does, what they do, they make our charts responsive. As you can see, our chart is not really responsive here, except you are clicking on these things here beside. And this one now, we are saying it only works for what? Class. Do you understand? But let's assume I wanted to make my chart responsive with just grid, with just subjects. I mean, I don't have a criteria here to make it responsive with what? Just subject. And most times when you start working with your dashboard self, these things that you're seeing here, you will delete it. You might delete it because you already have what? A slicer. Slicer makes it responsive for you to run more analysis, which means you can see more than one thing. Like now we have grade 12 here, grade 11 here, and what? Grade 10 here. Now, if I said I just wanted, like, I don't want to delete my chart, though, but I just want to see how science performed without seeing the others. There's no way I can do it without what? Slicers. Do you understand? There is no way I can do it without slicers. So that's where we introduce what? Slicers. Like that's what slicers do. It makes it what? Responsive when running what's more analysis. Responsive means you are interacting. Slicers makes it easier for you to interact with your charts. That's what slicers does. It helps you interact with your charts. Now I said I want to interact with my chart using what? Subjects. So I click on this chart. Remember, this is the pivot table for what? This chart that I'm using. So I click on it. I go to what? Pivot analyze. And I said what I want was insert the slicer. Now, this insert slicer is based on what? Now let me even do, now I've done one before. Let me do for two. I want it to be based on what? The class, and based on what? The subject. For class and subject. And I click on what? Okay. Now can you see that we have two slicers here? There are two slicers here. Now, please look at this chart. I want to see how history performed for grade 11. So now if I click history, it has shown me for what? Grade 12, grade 11, and what? Grade 10. So now I've seen how history itself performed. But I just want to see for what? Grade 11. So after clicking history and I click on what? Grade 11. Can you see? It's only showing me now for what? Grade 11. So it's you that will understand, okay, what information am I trying to get from my chart? And slicer. So slicer is a way of you now communicating with that chart. That okay, oh, this chart, show me this. This is what I want to see. If I say I just want to see for what? English, I click on what? English. And I say, okay, for all of them, I'll close. This will cancel filter. This X you're seeing here. Is there any slicer that I've done? Any filter from the slicer I've done? Cancel it. So I've checked for what? English. So show me English for grade 12, grade 11, and what? Grade 10. Do you understand now? Do you understand everything about slicers? Or should I go again?
Yes.
You understand it now?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. So that is all about pivot table and chart. Our next class will be creating, it's going to take the entire day. So I'll give you an assignment. It's just a personal assignment. I'll look for a YouTube video to just even show you how dashboard works in Excel. So at least you have a brief understanding of what you are going to be doing on Friday. So meaning all the cleaning, all this story we've been doing, we now want to put it on our dashboard. That okay, now so that if another person comes to it, another person can talk to your work, and your work will be giving the person answers. Our dashboard is all about. Do you understand, or is there anybody with questions? Is there another person with question? Okay, so there's not a person with questions. So please, and please. Some people are still owing me 2 assignments. And remember, assignments is a part of a criteria for getting your certificate. And this is just the first stage. That is Excel. You're still going to go through Power BI. You're still going to go through SQL. So that you don't overwhelm yourself, please and please try as much as possible to submit the assignments today. Okay. At least I'm glad that you understood today's class. And if we can finish the dashboard early, So, like what I was saying, if you can finish the dashboard early, we'll do corrections on the previous work that we have been doing. Because by Sunday, we'll be done with anything concerning what Excel. So please let's prepare for Saturday. I don't want to go far. I didn't go for that slicers because remember I said there's some people that are not here and some people need to watch this video. So I don't want to be going back and forth. Just see how slicers work. Then I'll show you how you can make your slicers interact with multiple charts. And that's when you're now creating. And now it's not just multiple charts. I'm going to show you how to create KPIs. So that's an assignment for everybody. Check, research meaning of KPIs in Microsoft Excel or in data analysis. Meaning of KPIs in what? Data analysis. So that's all for today. Let me end the recording. Or is there anybody with question? With any more question? Okay. So see you all on Saturday. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you very much.